My fiance dumped me at the altar after I spent $10,000 on our wedding. 1 minute, I was waiting for the love of my life to say I do. The next minute, she looked me straight in the eye and whispered, "I'm sorry, I don't think I'm ready for this." Everyone froze. The guests, my family, me. I had spent months planning that day, every flower, every meal, every dollar saved only for her to walk away in front of everyone. So yes, I sued her. Not because I wanted revenge, but because closure sometimes doesn't come from forgiveness. It comes from standing up for yourself when no one else will. If anyone had told me that the happiest day of my life would turn into my biggest humiliation, I would have laughed. I woke up that morning filled with excitement. The sun felt brighter, the air lighter. I was finally going to marry Paige, the woman I loved more than anything. The church was decorated perfectly. White roses lined the aisle, candles flickered softly, and every seat was filled with smiling faces. I had spent $10,000 on this wedding savings, loans, and even borrowed money from my sister, Riley. But I didn't care. Love was worth it. Then, as I stood at the altar, the music began. Paige walked in, wearing the most beautiful dress I'd ever seen. My heart pounded, but something felt off. Her eyes weren't glowing like they used to. When the priest asked her if she would take me as her husband, she froze. The silence felt like a knife cutting through the air. And then she whispered, "I'm sorry. I don't think I'm ready for this." Gasps echoed through the room. My chest tightened. I thought it was a cruel prank, until she dropped her bouquet and stepped back. My dream wedding turned into a public heartbreak. The part that hurt most wasn't that Paige said no, it was that she waited until the very moment to do it. She had months to tell me she wasn't ready. We'd gone to rehearsals, cake tastings, even premarital counseling. Each time, I asked if she was nervous, and she said, "I'm fine." She had every opportunity to be honest, but instead, she chose the altar in front of 120 people, cameras, and my family. My mom fainted. My best man, Wilson, stood frozen beside me. I couldn't even move. I just kept staring at her, walking out of the church like she was leaving a meeting, not a marriage. That night, I sat in my suit for hours, staring at the empty ring box. The phone wouldn't stop buzzing pity messages, gossip, and whispers. Someone even posted a clip online. My humiliation became everyone's entertainment. That was when I realized Paige didn't just break my heart, she broke my dignity. The next few days felt unreal. I couldn't sleep or eat. Every morning, I woke up and hoped it was just a bad dream. But the bills kept coming. The venue called asking for the remaining balance. The caterer sent an invoice. The photographer wanted payment. Paige was gone. No text, no explanation, nothing. It was like she'd vanished from the world. Wilson came over one night with takeout and said, "Bro, you didn't deserve that. She had no right to humiliate you like that." Riley hugged me, telling me to cry if I needed to. Their support kept me from breaking completely. But when I added up the receipts, $10,000 gone, something inside me snapped. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was financially racked and emotionally destroyed. That's when I started thinking, maybe heartbreak shouldn't come free. Paige stayed completely silent for weeks. I saw her once on social media, smiling at brunch with her friends, like nothing happened. She looked happy. I looked broken. It was the worst kind of pain. Seeing the person who destroyed your life, acting like she did nothing wrong. My therapist called it avoidance. I called it cruelty. Every time I looked at the wedding photos folder, I felt sick. The tuxedo, the invitations, the ring receipts, all reminders of how foolish I'd been. Wilson said, "You can't just let this go. She made a choice that cost you real money and public humiliation." I didn't respond, but his words stuck. Paige didn't just leave me, she left me with debt, shame, and trauma. One weekend, I laid everything out on my dining table, all the receipts. The venue, $4,200. The catering, $2,500. Decorations, $1,000. Photographer, $800. Dress fitting contribution, $1,500. Total, just over $10,000. I realized I had nothing to show for it. I had spent everything on a dream she destroyed. Riley said softly, "Leo, she can't just walk away from all this. You deserve something back." That was when the idea of suing her crossed my mind, not for revenge, but for accountability. If she had backed out before the altar, I could have canceled everything. But she waited until it was too late, until everything was paid. I expected my friends to tell me I was crazy for thinking about legal action. But instead, they surprised me. Wilson said, "Bro, this isn't about pettiness. It's about fairness. You didn't humiliate her, she humiliated you." Even Riley encouraged me, saying, "If you don't stand up for yourself now, she'll think what she did was okay." For the first time, I didn't feel alone. My friends helped me gather documents and texts. Wilson even found the contract that showed Paige had signed off on shared wedding expenses. Their support gave me strength. I wasn't chasing revenge, I was seeking closure. I met Mr. Dalton, a calm, straightforward lawyer. I told him everything from the "I'm not ready" moment to the unpaid bills. He listened quietly, then said, "You have a case for emotional distress and reimbursement of expenses." He explained it wouldn't be easy, but it was fair. I hesitated. Part of me still loved Paige, even after everything. But another part of me knew love shouldn't mean letting someone destroy your peace. That night, I filed the lawsuit. It felt like the first step toward healing, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. When the news spread, social media exploded. Some called me heartless. Others said I was brave. My phone became a battlefield of opinions. "Why would you sue her? She was just following her heart," one comment said. But another wrote, "She humiliated you publicly. You deserve justice." I tried not to read them, but I couldn't help it. People love drama more than truth. Still, I reminded myself, I wasn't doing this for them. I was doing it for me. The day I saw Paige again was the hardest. In court, she looked calm, almost proud. She wouldn't even look me in the eyes. When she spoke, her voice was steady. I didn't mean to hurt him. I just followed my feelings. I clenched my fists. Feelings? I had spent months planning a life for us, while she planned her escape. My lawyer, Mr. Dalton, presented everything. The receipts, the emotional testimony, the timeline. He spoke firmly, but respectfully. For once, someone was standing up for me. Weeks later, Judge Campbell delivered the ruling. He said, while emotional pain cannot be measured in dollars, financial loss can. He ordered Paige to reimburse a portion of the expenses, about half the total amount. It wasn't everything, but it was something. The courtroom felt heavy. Paige didn't say a word. I didn't either. It wasn't about winning. It was about closure. After the verdict, people whispered. Online strangers labeled me bitter. Some said I was cruel. Others said I took things too far. But none of them were standing there when I was left at the altar. None of them knew how it felt to lose your pride, your money, and your peace in one moment. Riley told me, "Leo, you're not cruel. You just refuse to be the only one paying for someone else's decision." And that's when it hit me. I didn't sue her out of hate. I did it out of self-respect. It took months to heal. I stopped checking her social media. I focused on rebuilding myself physically, financially, and emotionally. One evening, I stood outside that same church. It was empty, silent. I smiled softly, not out of pain, but peace. "You didn't ruin me," I whispered. "You just taught me to choose myself." I walked away with a lighter heart. The money didn't fix everything, but the act of standing up for myself did. Sometimes closure doesn't come from forgiveness. Sometimes it comes from finally valuing your own peace more than someone else's comfort.